So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and officially welcome everybody and kick off the Ford IT Career Webinar and pass our presentation over to Dominique. Dominique, welcome to the call.
Thank you for that. Hello, everyone, and again, welcome to today's webinar. I'll start off with the agenda. So you've been welcomed. We'll talk about Ford Motor Company at a glance, just understanding, overall what's Ford all about. Then we'll talk about our speakers, myself and the presenter that will be talking the bulk of this presentation. Then we'll talk about information technology opportunities, and then we'll also talk about what is it like to be in Michigan, what's going on here, what are some hot items to do. We'll wrap it up with a little bit of Q&A and talk about the application process. Next slide, please. So who's Ford Motor Company? We are a company that is just focused on creating strong business that builds great products that contribute to a better world. As you can see here, we have like a three-pronged approach. We have global reach. We want to break the mold. Right now, a big focus is on connectivity, and you'll hear a lot about that throughout the duration of this call. And then a really big thing here that's huge and critical to our culture is working as one. Not only as Ford Motor Company, but also as an IT skill team. And you'll hear a little bit more about that, again, as we go on with this call. Next slide. So what you see before you now is the One Ford plan, which is, again, something that really drives not only our internal behaviors, but how we interact with our customers, how we produce our products and services. And it's really just big to our company. So there's one team, one plan, one goal, and we want to continue to improve our balance sheet and perhaps be the most important team working together, but again, as one team. Next slide, please. So here you have some of the examples of what we would deem as one Ford. As you can see, there's some photos here of teams working together. You can see some of the construction or the manufacturing of our vehicles and some of the products and services that we provide. And then also you can also see a little bit how IT plays an intricate part in that. So I'll just give you a few moments to kind of look over the slide and take a look at some of the cool pictures there. Next slide. So again, I want to officially welcome you from Ford. So today our guest speaker, who again will be guiding us predominantly throughout the presentation today, is Rich Strader. He is the Director of Enterprise and Emerging IT, and he is headquartered here in Dearborn at World Headquarters. And then my name is Dominique Perry. I'm Human Resources, and I support IT from a recruiting perspective. Next slide, please. So I'll just give you a little bit of information about me. Again, I'm HR here for Ford, and I support IT. I'm basically single point of contact for all things recruiting. I'm responsible for the strategy and delivering results in terms of that strategy, specifically working with direct hire and external hires. And I work very closely with our operations team, so folks such as Rich Strader, and also with other HERBO or HR counterparts, as well as our recruiting team specifically. So we're a very large organization, very matrix organization, and I'm basically a single point of contact for recruiting things for IT. Next slide, please. So again, our speaker for today is Rich Strader. He is Director of Enterprise and Emerging IT, and I'll let Rich go in and talk a little bit more about what his role is here specifically at Ford. So Rich, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Dominique. Hi, everyone. My name is Rich Strader, and you can see from the title that I'm responsible for Enterprise and Emerging IT, and the reason that this role was created within the IT organization is the sort of level of innovation and disruptive technology that we're seeing coming at the company right now, and the need for IT to be a key player in helping Ford as a company adjust to that and become more of a technology player in the overall industry. I think this is true for most industries today, not just the automotives, but in particular the automotives are seeing a lot of technological change that is impacting them, whether it is, in this case, innovation itself, so the ability to come up with new ideas that can be applied into the marketplace, whether it's connected vehicles through embedded modems that are built right into the vehicles, or brought-in devices like your handheld smartphones. Connected consumer experience, that's basically our digital marketing and mobile application for One Ford application. Autonomous vehicle capability, which is, as you probably know, either fully autonomous and self-driving vehicles or semi-autonomous and partially self-driving vehicles. Mobility solutions, which are different ways of looking at getting people from point A to point B, because Ford ultimately is a company invested in making sure that everyone can participate and everyone gets where they need to go. And so some of these mobility solutions could be around ride sharing or vehicle sharing or multimodal transportation, where you would perhaps use one form of transportation to get to another and use another form of transportation to get to the next location and so forth. And Ford could help you arrange that so that it was seamless and easy for you to take advantage of. And that's particularly important now that we see some of these megacities emerging with a lot of population and traffic. And then the last area that I'm responsible for is data insights and analytics, which is the big data sort of question. What do you do with all this data that's collected from vehicles, from customers that we've had for years, from our in dealership experiences with people and our service experiences and our quality experiences? How do we take that data and turn it into something that helps the customer actually have a better experience with Ford? So that's my role. I'm very excited about it. You can probably tell that. But we see that as something that's really critical in our IT organization. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Our IT organization has a Chief Information Officer, that's Marcy Cleaborn, and she's responsible as Group Vice President and sits in on all of the strategy meetings at the upper level of the company and understands what's coming at us from a company perspective. We then have business unit directors in each of the regions. You can see those there: Americas, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia Pacific, and Ford Motor Credit Company, our finance organization. And then we have internal IT skill teams, the Office of the CIO that would have security and strategy and learning and development. We have application development, which is our project-based organization. And then we have infrastructure technology operations, which basically operates our data centers, creates all of our server hosting, manages all of our deployed desktops, and all of that sort of thing. And then we have what I just mentioned, enterprise and emerging IT. And of course, we have our finance and HR organization, and Dominique is part of the HR team. Next slide, please. These are the common IT competencies and job families that we look for. So if you look in the left column, you'll see architecture, business analysis, consultancy, business knowledge, project management, supplier management, and so forth. And on the right-hand side, you'll see what we have as job families, so the classifications or types of jobs that we have. And these should hopefully resonate with you. They seem to us anyways to be very consistent and standard throughout the industry. So we have application management, which would be support, architecture, business analysis, business operations and planning, which is sort of the organization and operation of IT itself, business relationship management, which means the people who work with our business teams, learning and development, organizational change management and communications, program and project management, security and controls, site management and end user support, solution design and development, solution quality assurance, technology management, and technology planning and engineering. So those are our major job families. Within those, you would then see the individual positions that you might see online that you would apply for. But these are fairly standard IT industry-wide job categories that we have here within the IT organization. And the one thing I should mention is we are what we call a captive IT organization, and what that means is we only work for Ford. We don't do software development for anyone else. All of our work is applied to Ford as a company, in the intent to make the company more able to deliver on its commitments to our customers. Next slide, please. What I'm going to do now is just walk you through some various areas of expertise that we would apply our IT technology in, and that would be potential job opportunities for anybody that would be on the line. The first one is in our manufacturing space. We have awful lot of automated machinery and equipment out there, and we very much connect to that to do production monitoring, real-time data acquisition, display the status throughout the plants, do the actual vehicle production scheduling so that the plants themselves actually cannot run without the IT systems anymore that deliver essentially the right material at line side just in time for the vehicles to be constructed. The quality management systems that test for weld strength and vehicle body panel alignment, kitting systems that allow us to sort of error-proof the installation of sort of like equipment. So the entire interior, for instance, can be put into a kit and goes with the vehicle down the line so that exactly the right parts always go on that vehicle. Next slide, please. Finance systems. So these are basically our tools for examining the company as a whole and measuring it and creating metrics around that. And what the finance systems allow us to do basically is look at the enterprise view of the company, figure out if we're making money, in particular around very specific things that we're doing. So for instance, we actually have a system. I was actually able to work on that when I was earlier in my career, where we explode the bill of material for every vehicle that we make, and we cost that part by part every day when the vehicle production completes. And so we can actually tell by VIN how much it costs to make a vehicle and then how much it costs to sell that vehicle, and therefore whether we're making profit on that. And through our analytics tools, we can look at that and decide whether we should offer more incentives in one part of the country or one part of the world than another, or if we should adjust the kind of volumes we're producing and so forth. So we have finance systems. The interesting thing is it's a very complicated architecture because it has to interface with basically every other system that Ford has, and it's very global reach. This application has been deployed globally throughout all of the world that Ford does business in. Next slide, please. The next area of opportunity would be marketing, sales, and service systems. And as you can see, we do pretty much all of our digital marketing online these days. It's either done through mobile applications or it's done through online digital interfaces like this. We do order editing, order processing, and customer knowledge retention through online systems. So everything in terms of being able to specify the type of vehicle you want to buy, configure it, price it, create a fully edited order, one that we know we could build and that could be delivered in a reasonable time frame. All of that's done within the IT systems, and we have plenty of opportunity for people to work in those systems and figure out how to contribute more in those areas. Next slide, please. Another area to work in would be product development systems or engineering. This is where we typically do the CAD work, the actual design work, the engineering work itself, or the automated manufacturing work. We have really interesting visualization and simulation tools that allow us to basically completely design the vehicle without producing a physical prototype. The system can do things such as actually conceptually move parts around, look through the vehicle and see if there's any interference or fit-finish problems, make sure that the driver has views out all the windows and can see where they're going, make sure that we properly located the instrument cluster and all of the accessories and control features so that people can use those effectively. So in any event, product development systems, major area of IT endeavor, almost everything there now is automated. We really could not produce the vehicles or engineer the vehicles without that. An area that's in my area is next slide, please. An area that's in my area is connected vehicle systems. And what that basically is about is connecting the vehicle typically through an embedded modem, but potentially also through a brought-in device. So based on our sync system that we have in production in most of our vehicles, you can tether your smartphone to the vehicle, and it can, through Bluetooth connection, be able to make phone calls, control your audio system. You can control other functions, your HVAC and other sort of vehicle capabilities. But as we move forward, we're going to be embedding modems in most of the vehicles that we sell, and that will allow us to connect the vehicles to the cloud and allow us to offer services into the vehicle, services like real-time traffic, perhaps real data analytics that we've used to analyze traffic to tell you really where you should go. We may be looking at a particular set of people in an area and know, for instance, what their driving pattern is and be able to suggest to an entire area different routes to take to try to avoid traffic congestion. And there are many other different things that we could do. It's a very cross-functional team. We have IT, engineering, marketing, and sales, and our service organization all working together to make sure that we have a solution that fits very well for our customer. It's high volume scale. Will be in every vehicle eventually that we sell. That's literally, we're looking at on the order of, in terms of data acquisition, something on the scale of several hundred petabytes of data. It's global impact. It will be launched ultimately in all vehicles globally. We're actually starting in China. We'll then move to the US, and then we'll go to Europe with this program. And it's very large-scale program management because it's multi-year, millions and millions of dollars that we're spending to make this all come together. Next slide, please. Another area then is in-vehicle systems. So if you think about sync as our sort of head unit system, or if you think about any of the multitude of computers that are in a vehicle, there are many, many, many different computers these days. An average vehicle at Ford right now has 73 CPUs in it. Many of those control things like your brake function, your powertrain itself, the engine, the transmission, the body controller for locking and unlocking the doors, and for and the restraint control module for the safety systems, the airbags, and the automatic fuel cutoff systems. So all the in-vehicle systems, the embedded software that goes in the vehicle, that's a cross-functional team. We, again, very much focused on consumer content, very large-scale program management. It's deployed and is in use then in our vehicles globally, and something you can see and feel every day when you go out on the street. Next slide, please. Connected consumer systems, as I mentioned before, basically all of our existing hybrid electric vehicles or fully plugged-in electric vehicles already have built-in capability to connect back to Ford, and we connect them to a smartphone application they can use to monitor and control functions in the vehicle. We'll be deploying that to all the rest of the vehicles that end up with embedded vehicles across our fleet, and redeveloping both that application and probably many, many more add-ons to that application to help customers do whatever they need to using their smart device. Again, very cross-functional team, IT paired with engineering and marketing and sales, and the aftermarket sales and service team, very large-scale integration and direct consumer content. Next slide, please. Autonomous vehicle systems, I mentioned these briefly before. We have very concerted effort to get to a fully autonomous vehicle in the short term. Most of the technology issues have basically been solved. It's now a matter of making it something that is affordable and integratable into a standard vehicle design, and something that we can make in mass production that will serve the general population. The massively complex, extremely complicated logic within the vehicle, we expect to develop all that logic ourselves. Has to be real time in terms of responsiveness, has to be able to control securely the behaviors of the vehicle, because we obviously wouldn't want people hacking into an autonomous vehicle. And in terms of safety, it has to be a paramount concern. So everything has to be tested and verified very, very tightly and to the nth degree. Next slide, please. So that's basically it in terms of the main areas. There's certainly many, many other functions in IT. We handle the Office of the Tax Counsel, the Office of the General Counsel in terms of legal. We handle purchasing and Ford Land, where we do the actual acquisition of properties. But those are some of the core things that I shared with you above, and I think they're very interesting areas where we have a lot of opportunity right now, because we want to hire in Ford people and deploy our Ford resources on really what our key priorities are, and I think I just went through a number of those above. But in terms of what is going on in Michigan, there's an awful lot in terms of Michigan itself, and if you just sort of look at this collage here, what it's trying to show you is we obviously have the automotive industry here, and there's associated races, the Michigan International Speedways locally nearby. There's obviously many, many car events. There are cruise events up and down various cities in the area here now. The downtown Detroit area, you see the Fox Theater, you see Comerica Park, which is where the Detroit Tigers play, you see Ford Field, which is where the Detroit Lions play, and the Detroit Red Wings, you see the Hockeytown sign above where the actual entryway is to where the Wings play. Many beautiful spots in nature, both to rest and relax or just take in the beauty. Next slide, please. Why Ford? We think we have exciting products. It's a brand that's recognized basically worldwide. I've been on 2 foreign service assignments, and I can tell you that the Ford logo is recognized almost every place that I've been in the world, and respected as an organization that's trying to, at the root, meet the needs of everyone. If you think about Ford's heritage, and if you think about our product line, our intent is to make transportation available to everyone, not just those who can afford a $100,000 vehicle or a $100,000 transportation option. We want to make sure that, and that's why you have seen, for instance, Sync offered on a Fiesta. The first vehicle we offered Sync on was a Fiesta. It was not our top-of-the-line Lincoln, because we believe that that's a safety feature and it's something that should be available to everyone. Global presence, an industry leader in technology and sustainability, integrating technology into people's lives. We're committed to making sure that the vehicle becomes just part of your experience in life, and it connects well into your digital experience. It's a collaborative culture. We have been in business for 111 years. We have a very solid leadership team. We think one of the best corporate comeback stories ever, and we'd love to share that with you. And as Dominique said many, many times, the secret to actually that comeback was working as one Ford team, working across the different parts of the company and working with respect and integrity with one another. And I think really an exciting place to work and a culture that I feel really proud to be a part of. Next slide, please. And I think this is the final slide, so I'll turn it back over to Dominique. But innovation is the key word here at Ford, and we hope you'll join us, and we hope you'll be a part of that innovation in the next stage of our corporate experience. Thanks for attending the webinar today. Dominique?
Thanks, Rich. It was wonderful hearing about all the exciting things happening in IT at Ford Motor Company. So I hope that all of those that are on the call today have learned not only a little bit more about Ford, but specifically about IT and some of the things we have going on now. So at this time, we'd like to open the floor up to question and answer. I believe that you have the ability to submit questions interactively within this webinar. So as the questions come in, we'll be sure to respond to those questions as time permits. We'll go ahead and move forward with the first question. Is it critical rather, to have automotive industry experience to be successful in IT at Ford? So Rich, I'll let you answer, but I'll start off by saying, just from a recruiter's perspective, no, it's not. It's critical that we actually value a diverse amount of experience from all sorts of sectors all over. While it gives you a little bit of insight knowledge and insight know-how when you have automotive experience, we also value experience from all over, because we know that IT is definitely reaching more than just automotive. We know that it's reaching across different markets and different skill teams, and so we value actually diverse experience. So that is not critical to have automotive industry experience. Not to mention, you can certainly come into Ford Motor Company and learn more about the automotive industry. Certainly, definitely more opportunities to see firsthand what's going on in the automotive space, and also other industries alike that might be integrating more IT into what they're doing in their everyday functionality. It looks like we might have time for at least one more question. So we have, is Ford a strong teaming environment, or do many people work independently? And so I will say that we've learned quite a bit just within this brief presentation that Ford's culture is all about the one Ford model that we are all implementing, not only in our everyday actions, but also within how we interact with our customers and how we make our products and services. So it's not just something that's talked about. It's something that is definitely a top-down, bottom-up culture thing that we have here. The company is really, really huge, but yet it feels like it's family, and I can say that from personal experience and just from hearing the feedback that I've gotten from some of my new hires. So there is definitely a strong team, a collaborative environment. People do work independently. However, the ability to work in a team will certainly give you that leverage and certainly give you an edge in how you move along and move around within our company. So I believe we're at time, actually, today. So we would like to thank everyone for attending this live Ford event. We hope that we provided some insight to you on how IT plays into networking and working at Ford Motor Company. If any of you are interested in our opportunities, we will be following up with each of you to provide you links to our IT career opportunities. And then someone will review your background from our recruiting team against our current requirements or our current requisitions after you've applied. So make sure that you're going out there visiting those links that you received after this webinar. If you are interested in those opportunities, apply to those links. And again, someone will review your requirements after the call. If you have any questions or anything that you would like to add or any comments, you will have the opportunity to respond to that email and to try to follow up. So again, we're just going to say thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you, Dominique, and thank you, Rich. And that will conclude the Ford IT Career Webinar for this afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a great day.